Cimoooooooo! What's going on, guys? It's Cimo, and this is my part 2 for my LA Regionals recap, deck profile, and matchup discussion. So I'm going to quickly go through the side deck so I can talk about the matchups and just some really cool things that I learned all around from the tournament. So, for the side deck, we have 2 copies of DD Crow. DD Crow's really important because I feel like it's a problem solver in the mirror match as opposed to a card like Stygian Dirge or Light Imprisoning Mirror, because you can just go ahead and banish the Deneb as opposed to delaying the inevitable. And so I just feel like it's really good. DD Crow all around, just an amazing card. Then we have 1 copy of Neospatian Grand Mole, the MVP of the side deck and always will be. Just bouncing back Winda, Construct, Leo. Grand Mole is just incredible. Then we have 1 copy of Thunder King Ryo. This was also for the mirror match, but I did not play a single mirror match the entire tournament, which I was kind of bummed about because I think the mirror match is actually a lot of fun. So that's it for the monsters. We have 1 copy of Dark Hole. I feel like just having an instant board wipe is just really good. I didn't feel like I needed it in the main deck, but I would side it in if my opponent would overcommit to the board a lot. 1 copy of Dimensional Fissure. For those of you who don't know, you can main deck Dimensional Fissure, you can run Dimensional Fissure as long as you get your Deneb into the graveyard before you activate Dimensional Fissure. The reason for this is you can go into your Exceed plays and you can detach materials. Materials don't count as monsters, so you can keep detaching the Deneb, and you can just keep recycling it with Altair, and while having Dimensional Fissure on board. This card was so key. I won a single game just with this and Unikali, and it was Unikali beat down the whole time because my opponent was running Shaddolls, and he couldn't do anything. So it was great. And then 1 copy of MST, the 3rd one that I wish I main decked over that stupid Phoenix Wing Wind Blast. So yeah, that's it for the spells. For the traps, triple Shadow Mirror. If you're not running a dark deck, you should be running at least 2 copies of this card because it just shuts down Shaddolls, Burning Abyss, just so many decks. It's so good. 2 copies of Malevolent Catastrophe. This was also for the mirror match, but it was also for decks that were just very back row heavy, and it came in handy a lot more than I expected it to. I mean, I've wiped people's back rows of skill drains, Light Imprisoning Mirrors, just all these different annoying cards. Malcat was incredible. Then 2 copies of Mind Crush. I actually never sided this in. This was also for the mirror match, mainly. But Mind Crush is just really good since all these decks can search. So, for example, you could Mind Crush a Shaddol Fusion after they search it off a Hedgehog. You can just Mind Crush so many different things, and it's a really good card all around. And finally, 1 copy of Full House. Same logic as Malevolent Catastrophe. I realized in testing that if you go up against a deck like Bujins or something that runs like a lot of floodgates, like Kaiser Coliseum and stuff like that, this deck will lose. It's just how the deck will work. It will lose. So I figured that running 1 copy of Full House in addition to the 2 Malevolent Catastrophes was just a really good call. And I ended up siding this in a lot. I don't think I ever resolved it once in comparison to the Malevolent Catastrophe, but I had it in case I needed it, and it came in handy. So that is it for the side deck. So now I'm going to go into my matchups and explain just some really cool things that happen. So, like I said, there was 1,058 people, I believe, at this event. Like, it was absolutely crazy. So, for round 1, I played Shaddolls. Fun for me, right? Of all the things to play in round 1. And, yeah, that was really fun. Game 1 went on for like 30 minutes, and he ended up taking it with BLS. And on top of it, I didn't mention the best part. My opponent actually had an Ascension the Sky Dragon, which I was just like, this is my first opponent. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? So, luckily he never used that on me, but thank God. But anyway, I got to see one up close, and that card looks fucking sick. Anyway, so yeah, game 1, it was just, he won after like 30 minutes. Game 2, I opened like this and like 4 back row, and I basically just attack, and I just won. So this was pretty clutch. And then game 3, we actually went into time, and I would have won this game if he did not dragon my Shadow Imprisoning Mirror in with Sinister Shadow Games. I had 3 back row, and he hit the Shadow Mirror. And if he did not hit the Shadow Mirror, I would have won that game. That's it. So round 2, guess what? Was Shadal's. And this game went really smooth. I 2-0'd the guy. He actually, like, rage quit. He was fucking pissed. I recycled Deneb and Altair like no other. I think that was the most I've done that the entire game, or the entire tournament. Like, I had, like, all my Call of the Haunteds. I had my Soul Charges. Like, it was nuts. He could never get ahead. So it was really good. So I'm 1-1 at this point. Round 3 was against Psychic Trap Tricks. Now, this I was not expecting at all. And I actually have a deck profile from my opponent that will be going up later, so you can check that out. But it was a really cool anti-meta deck. I like to call it Leo Turbo, because the whole deck basically revolves around just it's like Grand Soil, Psychic, Trap Tricks, but then he runs 3 copies of Mythic Water Dragon, and he can get Leo out so easily with it. Yeah, it was really ridiculous. Definitely MVP right here against, it's the anti-Leo card. So yeah, that was interesting. It was game 2 and we were in time, and I ended up winning thanks to Alsam. So yeah, because Alsam is amazing. He had a Leo out, and I'm just like, okay, I'm just going to keep burning you for 1,000. I really don't care. So yeah, that was really good. He's a cool guy though. Check out that video when I post it up later. Round 4 was against Gravekeepers, and holy shit, I was not expecting to see Gravekeeper anti-meta. Like, it was ridiculous. The guy was really cool. Game 1, I lost, mainly because Necro Valley just kills this deck, which I also was wishing I had the 3rd MST for. Game 2, I won, and he quickly wanted to go into Game 3 right before time went up. So basically, we started Game 3 in time. And let me mention that he opened his main deck Thunder King all 3 games. So against my deck, that killed me. So it ended up, he just drew the nuts. He opened up Game 3 with Thunder King, Necro Valley, and like Solemn Warning. And I'm just like, it was like just downhill. I had no chance. So yeah, so at this point I was 1-2-1. I think I didn't mention I drew with the Psychic player. So I'm 1-2-1 at this point. Round 5 was against Yang Zings, and Yang Zings I was not expecting to be that big of a pain until I realized that they main deck 3 copies of Skill Drain, which utterly wrecked my deck. But my opponent was once he got his Skill Drain on board, he was very overconfident, and he would just go nuts, and I Malcatted his field for like 5 at one point, and I won mainly because of Malcat. So yeah, that was pretty good. Round 6 was against, guess what? Shadal's. Shadal's, I just went nuts on him that game. I was so confident in that game. I was just doing everything right. I MST'd his Vanity's Emptiness. That was when I Book of Moon my own monster to prevent him from using Fusion. It was just really, really good all around. There was also 1 point against this Shadal player. I believe it was game 1, where I had a field of 5 Satellar Knights. Like, it was something like this. Like, I think Vega might have been in defense. I really don't remember. It was just something, like, absolutely crazy. Because how you play the Shadal matchup with Satellar Knights, you go just hard, fast, and you don't exceed unless you absolutely have to. So my field was something like this. And he dark holed my field, and I almost cried because I was like, oh my god, he main decks the dark hole. And yeah, it was so bad. I still won the game because I was so far ahead, but it was like that moment, I'm like, this field is amazing, and then he dark holed me. I was so upset. Round 7, I played another Yang Zing player, and this is where my hatred for Skill Drain just continued to just brew, because Skill Drain just wrecks my deck. I wish I could run 6 MSTs in here, because Skill Drain is so bad. At one point, I think it was game 2, I played Deneb or something. He played a Skill Drain, I MST'd the Skill Drain, and he played a second Skill Drain. I'm just like, fuck. But yeah, it was bad. The highlight of this game was, it was game 2, he won game 1, and we were about to go into time, and I'm like, okay, I had the life lead, and I'm like, okay, I have to win this and draw this at least. And so I go my Altair Deneb play. He flips up Stygian Dirge, and I'm like, okay, that's fine. Let's go. And he was like, you actually run the Zen mains. And I'm like, yep, for this exact reason, because Stygian Dirge is not that good of a card, especially when you run a Zen main. So this is why this is the MVP, because it made me draw that game. I wish I could have won that game, but hey, I'll take a draw. So that was that game. And then my round 8 was a no-show. My round 9 was Infernity, which... it's funny, I had not tested this deck against Infernity, and you know what? It actually didn't go too bad. My opponent luckily didn't go off, and I prevented him from going off a lot too, but luckily he didn't go nuts, and I went first because I won the die roll, so luckily I got to set up game 1, and then game 2 he went first, but he didn't open anything, so I was pretty set against that game. And then round 10, I thought I was going to have an opponent, and then it ended up, they did the pairings wrong, so then my opponent actually moved. So I did not have an opponent for round 10 either. So I ended up getting 128th place out of over 1,000 people. I went 6-2-2. If one of those losses or draws would have been a win, I would have gotten my invite to Nationals, but... you know what? Sometimes that's just how it happens. But thank you all so much for sticking around and watching both parts of this video. Let me know down in the comments what you guys think. And yeah, thank you so much for watching the video. And we'll see you guys next time.